Hello, Recruiter DNA community. I want to share with you. I got a couple of questions. A lot of you are busy, but you're trying to grow your social media presence, especially on LinkedIn. It's a good way to kind of brand yourself as the recruiting expert. All the candidates in your pipeline that maybe you've been working with, hopefully they're following you or you're connected to LinkedIn and potential for those of you in executive search, potential clients are following you. So you need to be sharing things. You think of LinkedIn as kind of your like a radio station or an Instagram account. People are connecting with you when you post, they get your feed. So that's your audience, right? So how do you keep up with everything? And this is more of an operations type thing. What I do is I use Feedly, and I use the paid, I think $20 a month. And all it does is it lets me go out and find sources that I need to be following, and then it lets me manage those, right? So I load all the AI news, AI tech news, and I keep it in a kind of in my feed. So I can go to today's news, or I can just go to AI news and it tells me what's popular. Whenever I want to read something, I go to it and I can click it and I can read it. And I've set up a what they call boards. It's just kind of like folders, right? And so whenever I find something, I've created whenever I want to share something, I've created a board called LinkedIn posts. The reason I do that is because I've set up a Zapier automation. In this automation, I've said, hey, whenever there's a new feed in my LinkedIn post, go ahead and do something, right? So whenever I find a new feed, I like it, I would just kind of move it or save it. I'm trying to find one that I'm going to share here. So here, let's say I would save to a board, LinkedIn, it's already there, but I would save it. That would tell Zapier to do something. So whenever it finds a new feed, it goes to my second automation, which is Claude. And Claude's really good at writing. Claude is just like ChatGPT, but it's just a little bit better at writing. So I've told it to pull in the article title from Feedly, the article author, because I want to give them credit. I don't want to come across as I'm writing this, and a article summary that's already built in. And I've kind of told it in two different places, focus on the impact, focus on how this, meaning the article, impacts recruiting leaders, executive search firms, and recruiting and hiring in general, and with a call to action, right? And then in Zapier, you also get a system prompt. This kind of gives, this is telling it, let me go ahead and edit this so you can see. When you're building these prompts, you get two, when you're using ChatGPT or Claude, you get two areas. The user message, which this is me sharing what I want the AI to do and where I want to get it from. And since we connected Feedly, it has, I could add all the different things. These are all the possibilities that Feedly is able to share with me about an article. So I've picked an article title. That's always important in your post, article author, and a summary. And I've told it what to do. But in the system prompt, I've given it a persona. You're a LinkedIn content creator for RecruiterDNA.com, a community that helps recruiters, blah, 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 blah. I'm experimenting with this. I'm trying to get it to auto app mention. We'll see if that works. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it does. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, whether it's a post or a newsletter, if I hit the at, that's why they call it at mentioning. When I hit that letter, when I hit the letter or the ampersand, it starts to tell me, oh, you want to connect to someone. So let's say Augie Ray. I just said at Augie Ray. Now, that is actual, that hyperlinks him or her or a company. I could do, I could do Meta. And you got to scroll down, and there it is, Meta. Right. So in this post, it may look just like bolded text. But when I hit send, Augie, Ray, and Meta will be notified that they've been mentioned in a post, right? Similar to hashtags. Hashtags are where, you, you know, I told you that you want to be sharing stuff so that your first connections can get it. But if you want to grow your audience to outside your first connections, you start using hashtags. Because I could say, it'll help me here, AI news, right? Now, anyone that follows that hashtag, AI news, will pick up on my feed. So that's a different story, but I'm just kind of telling you why I'm trying to at mention people because it just it gives your posts more power. So I'm experimenting with this. Now, here's the cool thing I'm experimenting with. Oh, I tell my target audience. That's great. For those of you who've taken my course or are studying prompt engineering, you want to give it for every prompt, you want to give it a role, which I've done. You're a LinkedIn content provider. You want to give it context, right? I'm telling it what my community is about. I'm telling it who my target audience is. That's key in any prompt. Who am I talking to? Who am I? Who is this message for? And then their why. And then what? All these things you want to add. Some content focus, right? Practical AI applications for recruiters, blah, 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 blah. Now, here's what's cool. I also, and we can go into this, this is more social media stuff. I give it some guidelines because you don't want your post being too long, right? Um, Now, here's a really cool thing I'm experimenting. I'm experimenting with a call to action rotation. I'm trying to use logic and say, look, 30% of it are people that own recruiting firms because that's my audience. 20% are people, I'm telling it not to do the same thing over and over again. That way, every post won't have the same call to action. Very quick. Why do you want to call to action? If you're posting and not seeing anything from it, I don't care if you're posting a job. If you're posting an update and you're not asking, then you're not going to get, you're going to it goes back to advertising 101. When I used to sell TV ads in San Antonio for NBC, when I would meet with a client and they're like, Larry, there was this big famous pest control client and they spent a lot of money. And I was new. I'm the new account manager, and I went in there like, I'm bringing you in, and they scolded me. We're going to cancel all of our online and TV ads. And I asked him why, and he said, because I'm not getting any phone calls. And then I let him yell at me for a little bit more, and I said, in any of your ads, internet or TV, have you said call us at? And he stopped. We looked at the ads. No, we didn't. We were saying, go to the website or blah, blah, but we didn't have a clear call to action. So all that money he was spending, hundreds and thousands of dollars a month, we made that one tweak. It started working. So if you want someone to do something, you got to add a CTA, a call to action. But if it was the same thing every time, let's talk. Here's my Calendly. That's a call to action a lot of recruiters or salespeople use in their emails. Hey, let's talk, let's chat, and they put their calendar. You've given them a clear call to action and a link to click. Now you can measure. I post this many. I send this many emails. Here's my ROI. So what I'm trying to do is have it rotate, right? And that's why, Zapier and IFT have been around for a while. That's not AI. That's more of automation, one of the flavors of automation. But by being able to connect to Claude or ChatGPT, now we can start to add a little bit of brain work. We can start to add a little bit of magic to what we wanted to do. I do a time delay. That way all my posts don't come out. By the way, I used to pay $50 a month for Buffer because it's really one of the only tools that would allow me in the morning to read a bunch of articles, right? And then I don't want to share them all at once. I do my reading in the morning. I want to share them throughout the day. So I have to pay $50 a month. Well, I stopped paying and I moved that money over because Zapier is a paid tool, Feedly is a paid tool. So I kind of moved that money over and really I have a delay in here of, let's say, 45 minutes, right? And then it goes to LinkedIn. So this is a very simple way that every morning, number one, I know I'm using Feedly, and you don't have to use Feedly, but I know what I'm reading every day. And by the way, Feedly has a Chrome extension. So if I do have, if I'm reading a one-off article, I can still capture it in my workflow, right? Because my workflow is get it into Feedly, move it into the LinkedIn posts, the things I want to share. And that's how it works. Now, I've done this before. I used to run a little experimental diversity news site. I did the same thing, but I said, hey, whenever anything goes into the diversity folder, it would clean it up. It would write the message. I was using ChatGPT, and it would post it to my blog. I had a blog, a very cool modern blog website provider. They went out of business, but they connected to Zapier, so it would just write the articles for me. It was really, really awesome. So that's a kind of an example of how we can use some basic automation like Zapier and AI. But it's not gonna be great results if you don't know how to prompt, right? So we can work together and build the prompt. And then this just takes time and experimenting. So I hope you find this helpful, and I'll see you on the next video.